watch prom night, they'd save time. There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
Oh, you want to play psycho killer? Can I be the helpless victim? Okay, let's see. No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
What is up, party people? It is your man, Old Man Ghostface, here with the inaugural episode of Don't Kill Me, Mr. Ghostface. This is a spin-off show from our other show. It's a horror podcast. I've been meaning to do this for like a long time, and it just come together automatically, and so I'm just excited to get this going. The show is going to basically be me talking to people in the horror community from Instagram, Facebook, just social media in general. Maybe evolving into something else later on, but as of right now, we're just going to stick with that. I'm trying to get everyone to kind of know each other better, and just to get the smaller accounts out there too, because I was a smaller account, and it was hard to kind of get noticed and get involved with people. And so now that I've gotten a little bit bigger, I can look back and go, you know what? I wish someone had done this a long time ago. So I just want to get this out there. So I just really appreciate you listening and for just supporting me with everything and all my ventures that I have going on. So I really do appreciate it. Yeah, so this is the first episode. And honestly, there's really no set schedule or set topic. I basically just kind of talk to the people in my interview and say, what do you want to talk about, or kind of just hint on what they excel in or what they are interested in. So again, if you want to be on the show, DM me on my Don't Kill Me, Mr. Ghostface Instagram page, and we can talk about it and set up a time and everything like that. So but yeah, I'm really excited to get this going finally. It's been like 2-3 weeks since I've announced this, and I'm just excited to get it going. So my first guest on the show, one of my very, very dearest friends. We've got to know each other for the past few months. She's a great person. She is a bookworm. She loves one of my favorite movies, Scream. That's what we usually talk about. We talk about movies. But her name is Mandy. Mandy, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, of course. I'm so happy to be here. And this is my first podcast with anybody as a guest.
Awesome, awesome. Well, like I said, I'm so glad you're here. And it was really cool because when I first started talking about this to everyone, you were just really showed you wanted to be on the show, and I'm like, all right, she's got to be the first one. So,
Yeah,
but
hell yeah.
I'm really glad you're here. And we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about um, your top movie or books to movie adaptations. Because, like I said, I know you love books, and that's actually the first thing I noticed about your page was that you loved books and you love to read, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And then when I started thinking about the show, I'm like, it'd be cool to talk about your favorite book to movie adaptations because I know you probably have a few that you love and enjoy. So,
I do. I do.
but well, cool. Well, I'm trying to think of anything else I want to cover before we get started. I guess I'm just really as excited to get this going. I know we've taken a hiatus on his horror podcast for a little bit. Kevin's been busy with stuff. He's been moving and other stuff going on. I've had a lot of stuff going on too. So I wanted to kind of keep this going, with something to put up on our feed and make people interested. Make sure we know we're not going away and we're going anywhere. And but like I said, I've always wanted to do this, so this is just really fun for me. So. All right, well, let's just get into it because I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about the books that you love that are now on the big screen or on the small screen or however you want to say it. So, but let's just get into it. So, what is your first book to movie adaptation that you really enjoy?
My first book to movie adaptation, The Shining.
So, tell me a little bit why you love that so much.
I love it so much because Stephen King hates how Stanley Kubrick's made the movie. The
Mm,
adaptation, like the adaptation of the movie to whatever to the book to the movie,
mm.
only because he hates it. That's the only reason why. The
Really?
movie, yes, but I love that movie to begin with and that book. So when I was little, I watched the movie first and then I read the book. And the book scared me way more than the movie did. But That's because you're, picturing everything in your head. But the movie itself is just a stronger work of horror than the book.
Yeah,
Um,
and I've heard that too. I've actually heard that a lot. So yeah, you're just yeah. And it sucks that they couldn't get it exactly, but people say yeah, like you say, it's such a different, variation of what there is that it kind of like gives a whole new dimension. At the same point, the book was so much scarier. So
yeah, the book to me was, I mean, people will argue with me that about that any day, that the book is scarier, or the movie's scarier than the book, whatever. Um, but the movie and the book, even like the endings are different. Like the ending of the movie is different than the ending of the book.
mm,
Um, but yeah, it's just, it's great. It's such a
yeah,
great book. It's such a great movie. Um, I mean, you can't really, there's really nothing bad to say about it.
honestly, that's
Um,
very true. That's very true.
yeah. And the ending of the novel is different than the way they did the book. So
Yeah,
Jack ignored like the boiler, the whole time in the movie. I mean, you see in the movie everything, you knew stuff was going wrong with the boiler.
right.
Um, and in the end of the book, he ignores it. And then in the book, he goes down there to like release the pressure on the boiler and gets
Mm,
caught and dies in the explosion. That's in the book. But if you see in the movie, you know how he dies in the movie.
right, right.
So,
So, and I think a lot of people
um,
have a problem with that too. They have a problem with the way he dies in the movie because it's
yeah,
so like random. So
so random. And the ending of the movie kind of dragged. I mean, I hated watching him like just walk through that maze. I was like, what is he doing? What is he doing? It was so annoying. Like, it was just irritating. I was like, come on, spice it up a little bit. Put him in the damn building, let the thing blow up, like
yeah,
they did in the
yeah.
book. I just think it would have been so much better. Um, but even Jack Nicholson playing that part, I don't think they could have picked anyone to pull that off the way he did.
I
He
fully
was
agree.
just phenomenal.
Mhm.
He was just
Yep.
so good in there.
When I was funny, I was watching the In Search of Darkness documentary just a few days ago, and they were covering The Shining and talking about how Kubrick was such a master of detail and all this stuff, and everyone that sees his movies can kind of knows that. And they were saying that the part that they couldn't figure out is the part where he's in the maze. And of course, it's extremely cold, but there's no breath. You don't see their breath when they're running around, which is a huge
No,
thing. And they even showed it. I'm like, man, that is such a huge detail that they missed. But it's like if you aren't paying attention, you kind of miss it. So
right. Yeah. It's
yeah,
spooky, it's scary, and you read the book or watch the movie, they're both gonna scare the shit out of you. Sorry.
seriously,
They're
no, no,
both gonna
no,
scare
just
you.
hey, this there's no holds barred in this episode or this podcast. So say what you feel like, whatever it is. It's but no, you're exactly right though. Like it's because I didn't know for a long time I didn't know the book and movie were different at all, and then I started hearing things about it, and I'm like, well, that's kind of strange. How it would be that different? I wonder how different it really is. And I started researching it and talking to people about it, and they're like, oh yeah, it's way different. And
Yeah.
and I've heard it's kind of funny because in the movie just came out. Oh, the newest one. Dang it, I can't think of the name of it now. With um, oh my gosh. Don't Doctor Sleep. There we go.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
it kind of harkens back to the book a little bit with that ending, which is kind of cool. So you kind of get to see a little bit of ending, kind of sort of an ending of that. So I won't give away anything spoilers about that, um, but yeah, I actually love Doctor Sleep a lot. Of course, I haven't, and just full disclosure, right now, I don't read at all. So, um,
Yeah, I
I
know.
have to, yeah, yeah. I have to rely on people to tell me these things that exist that don't exist. So, um, but I've heard people tell me, like someone's actually told me the entire ending of the book, and then, so watching the original movie and then watching Doctor Sleep, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool how it all lines up. So, um, but yeah,
Doctor Sleep was a great movie. But see,
it
I
is.
didn't start reading books until I started watching horror movies first because
Mm.
my mom was addicted to horror books, but she wouldn't watch the movies because they'd scare her. So
Oh
I'd watch the
wow.
movies, she'd read the books, and I'm like, and then I would tell her what happened in the movie. She's like, "Oh my god, that's so different than the book." And I'm like, "No, no, no. No, no, no. I gotta read the book and I gotta watch the movie now because you're just curious." So we'd go back and forth. She'd read the book, I'd watch the movie, and then I'd go back and we'd talk about it. She's
Right,
like, "I
right.
just
Which
can't
is
watch the movie. I
that's
can't
so
watch
great
them. They
though.
scare me." But you can read the
Uh,
books. So I'm like, I gotta watch them now and read
that sounds like Joey and Friends when he puts the book in the freezer.
them. Yeah.
That is so funny. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that was
Well,
a
that is
hysterical one.
that was. But I love that the dynamic between you and your mom. That's so cool how you both kind of shared the whole horror thing. But she was like she was so scared she can watch the movie. But that's so cool that connection you had there. So that is
Yeah,
really neat. Very neat.
it's
Um,
funny.
yeah, and I think a lot of people would agree with you that one of their favorite adaptations is The Shining, and for the fact that it's so different than the book, going into the movie. So that's always, like you said, it's a very heated debate on that. I mean, I've heard that debate so many times, so many different ways, so many different angles and whatever. So I'm glad you brought that up because that was one I was hoping you could talk about. So um, yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah.
Um, I was going to take this as like a back and forth, but I kind of just want to keep going with yours, and then I may just mention a few at the end. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So this, like I said, this is a learning process here. People just hang with us. It's going to eventually get to a certain structure, but as of right now, I'm just kind of feeling it out, seeing how things go. But I kind of like this. If you just tell me what you like, and then we'll just kind of converse about it. Um, what's your next one that you really enjoy?
Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, such a
Yeah.
good movie. Oh my God.
Sick.
Hmm.
So, okay. So, you've seen the movie, obviously. Have
Yes,
you
many
read the
times.
book? No.
No. Yeah, why are you asking that question? You know the answer to that question.
No. So, okay. So, from the movie, you watch the death of Lewis's wife and daughter.
Right.
Um, and then after that, Lewis is turned into the vampire by Lestat, and then to keep Lewis by Lestat's side, he converts that little girl. Remember who had the plague? He makes her into a vampire.
Hmm.
Um, okay, totally wrong. First off, Lewis doesn't become a vampire after his wife and his kid die. Um, After his brother dies, Paul's his brother. He goes
Hmm.
into like a super spiral of like depression and just like loses his shit. Um, that's when he decides to become a vampire. Um, and he's not a lord
Hmm.
because
Okay.
he's French. So he's French
Yeah.
and then he's like raised in New Orleans. So he's not a lord like at all.
No Lord
But they
here.
re- but they refer to him as a lord and that bothers me so much.
I wonder
Um,
why. I wonder why they did that.
I I don't know. I don't know. Um,
Huh.
but he isn't because Louis is French and yeah, he was like raised in New Orleans. So anyway, um, another thing they did wrong was Lestat um converts that little girl to keep Louis company and by his
Mhm.
side. Um, I mean, there is some truth to that, but Louis is the one who converts her and then kills her. Lestat merely makes her into a vampire and takes advantage of Louis and his love for her.
Right.
He had for her, to keep him at his side, to keep Louis at Lestat's side.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, they've just messed up the storyline. You know, um, well, you've seen it in the movie. The whole
Right.
everything that happens, he does kill her and everything. But the book and the movie are like so opposite to me.
Mm.
Again, somebody's gonna argue with me
Yeah.
about that, and fine, whatever. But those are just, that's just what I've noticed watching the movie and reading the book.
Yeah. Well, and I,
Um,
I like I see a trend, becoming a thing here with the movies that totally go opposite or against what the book has put out there first. So it sounds like you like the variations. You like the way that it kind of doesn't follow because I guess it's more interesting that way, maybe.
Yeah, it is because, there's books like okay, so I'm like a closet lover of the Twilight series.
Mm. I don't think we can be friends anymore, Mandy. I don't know.
But I read all
I'm
the
kidding.
books, and then I watched the movies, and they're like word for word the exact same thing. So it was boring,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
agree with that.
You
Yeah, I agree with that.
when you're watching the movie after you read the book, you're like, "Oh, that wasn't in the book. That wasn't in the book. Yeah, that wasn't either, but that's totally good. They should have put it in the book." Stuff like that. But
Mm.
when you read a book and then you watch the movie and it's like word for word the same thing, you're like,
Yeah, yeah. I never really thought about
boring.
that actually. I never thought about that aspect before, but that's a very good point because yeah, I mean, you've read the book. I mean, I know you want to see it on screen, but at the same point, you want things to be different. You want things that take different turns or whatever. And so I could see the way you would get really bored really fast because once you've seen it on screen for a few minutes, you're like, okay, I know what's coming up. I know the way it's going to look like the rest of the movie. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. I didn't really
Even
never thought
like
about it that way.
even like the description of the characters, I
Mm,
mean, you want them to be the same like in the book, as they are in the movie,
mm,
the way they describe them. But it's sometimes you're like, okay, no. They totally did good by changing, his hair to brown and making him taller and, making him, not muscular and like super scrawny, stuff like that.
true.
Because the way they describe people in books, sometimes you're like, really?
Mm.
Like it's
Yeah,
not believable.
true, true.
Um, they can take it out of hand sometimes with that. Um, but even stuff like that, it makes it more interesting. They change his hair
Yeah,
color or, whatever. Um, but yeah, but it is boring reading a book and having it exactly word for word when you're watching the movie because there's nothing to expect. There's no surprise. There's no, everybody wants to argue with their TV when they're watching a movie. You catch
true.
everybody doing it, yelling at their TV. Or like, arguing with the movie as it's playing. Like, that wasn't in the book. That's
Right.
the fun, of watching the movie after a book.
Very true. Very true.
But
Yeah.
I I do sometimes, and a couple of my friends do the same thing that I do.
Mm,
If the movie comes out before the if the movie comes out when the book comes out or whatever, or if we
mm,
haven't read the book or watched the movie, we watch the movie first or the series,
mm.
however that goes, and then
Right.
read it. Then you could get like a mental picture of um the characters, when you're reading it. And then the
True.
same thing when you're reading the book. Oh, they're not the same. In the
Yeah.
movie, they're different in the book. And it's the
See,
same way.
I would take that opposite though. For me, I'd want to read the book first and then kind of create what I think it looks like first, and then go see the movie and see what everyone else thinks it looks like. Maybe I don't know. I'm weird like that, but it's interesting the way you take that though. I like that actually, because that
Yeah,
way you
it
can see the
just
variation.
yeah, it just depends like on what you read. What you're gonna
True.
watch. You're like, and then you sit there and you're like, no, I want to watch this movie first. You know,
True.
I read 11/22/63 by Stephen King, and
Mm,
they made a series. It's like a short series on Hulu, I believe. I watched it, or Netflix. I can't remember. But I was reading the book as they like released it, and
mm,
obviously the book is like way older.
mm.
But I couldn't help myself, and my friend on Instagram. We were reading the book together. He's like, "Do not watch the series before you read the book," and that only makes you wanna like go watch it.
I'll do what I want. Damn it.
I watched it, and I totally read the book, but I'm like, "No." He's like, "That's why I told you not to." I'm like, I know,"
I
but
was going to ask if you lied
that
to him about it, but
no, I told him. He's like, "Please don't. It skips too far ahead and it's so fast and yada yada." And I'm like, "Okay." So I did. I ended up watching it, but of course the book is going to have way more detail than like a 5 episode, short
oh
series of
yeah,
it.
for sure.
But that book was amazing.
I've heard
That
that.
was a
I've
good
heard
book.
that same thing. Yeah, I've heard that's one of his best ones. So
Yep.
uh, I think I started watching that series and I stopped. I need to go back and finish it though because it was interesting and I don't know why I stopped. I don't know half the shit I stopped watching. I stopped watching out of like I don't even know what the fuck the reason is. And I go back, I'm like, why did I stop watching the show? The fuck is wrong with me?
You just forget.
Anyway, I do. I need to put that on my list. I've actually got a physical list of stuff I'm watching now. It's crazy. I like writing it down and keeping track and doing really good. So, yay for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to talk about with Interview with the Vampire?
Um, no. Besides the characters that they picked for that movie, oh my god, they did great.
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. I mean, can you get two the biggest
Mm,
sex icons of like the 80s and 90s like ever? Like, come on.
exactly. The two
Fucking
hottest
A.
dudes in the 80s and 90s.
I
And
was
then
wet the entire
she
time.
she she was perfect as the kid, you
Oh,
know?
perfect. Yes. And
Perfect.
I can't remember her damn name either. What is her name?
Um,
She was in Spider Man. I can't remember. That name always escapes me. I don't know why. And someone right now was listening to this going, "It's so and so," and I'm
yeah,
stupid, but
I know her name, I know her name. Hold on. I'm looking it up. Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. There we go. I can never remember
Yeah,
her name
and
for some reason. But
yeah, her name's in the book her name is well in the movie is Claudia? Claudia,
Claudia.
right?
There we go.
I
But yeah,
think
that movie
so.
is fantastic, though. I love that movie so much. I found it on Blu-ray a while back for like $1 on eBay or something like that. I grabbed it up and I was like, "Fuck yeah! I'm so glad I have this now." But
And Christian Slater's in there and he plays Daniel
oh
and
yes,
ah like you don't ever see him in anything and that's like one of like the last like probably 5 movies he was in before he just disappeared off the face of the earth.
I know. It's sad
Um,
too because he's such a good actor too. You know.
he is. So you have Christian Slater, Tom Cruise, and Brad Pitt. Like,
Mm.
come on.
And that's just you might as well just put a pillow put a pad down in your seat because you're gonna be wet the entire time. You know, shit. Come
They need
on.
to. What if they made a new one with all of them?
Oh my
Besides,
god.
obviously, without Kirsten Dunst because she's dead, or well, they're
Well,
all
of course.
dead, but you know what I
Well,
mean.
well, yeah,
Remake it, but she's
yeah,
too old now. Get
yeah.
another little
No,
girl to play the part.
yeah. They'd have to find someone new. Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting because I don't know. Tom still looks like the same. I don't know what deal he's made with Scientology, but it's been good to him. And Brad Pitt, shit, he's Brad Pitt.
Wait, dude, Antonio Banderas is in that movie too. How did I
But
forget
that's
him?
right. That's right. He's one. He's like the later. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There
he's
you
in
go.
there later because he's
That's
the
just
vampire in the.
it's straight porn. It's straight porn is what it is.
It is. I mean, he's
Uh,
older now,
oh
but
yeah, he's still hot though. I mean, daddy, come on now.
I know.
Okay,
Zorro.
before we get totally yeah, don't get me started on that shit. But yeah, let's move on before I paint the walls and I'm done. Okay, so what is what's your third choice for book
um,
to movie adaptation?
American Psycho.
Fucking
hmm
amazing, good
Patrick
stuff.
Bateman is serial killer in Manhattan, and he's an investment broker. I mean, come on.
I
He
mean, and look
fit
at that. I
in.
mean, well, I mean, and when you look at Christian Bale playing him too, like he is the quintessential like badass of the '80s too. So he just
Hell
that
yeah.
movie just oh my god. But
His performance is seriously hard to forget. Like, this is besides him in The Dark Knight. Oh, he's
God,
phenomenal in this movie. Like,
tremendous,
I
tremendous.
almost I almost, like, watching the movie was like, "Okay, this is a real person being recorded," because you, like, really he dove into that character. Oh,
Mhm.
you can't
Seriously,
forget that. And
well,
every
in
time you
all that,
watch it go ahead.
yeah. No, I was gonna say like watching him from even when he's semi-normal to when he goes full on psycho, like you
Yep.
lose yourself in that performance.
And
The key things I remember mostly are him in the limo with Reese Witherspoon's character, I forgot what her name is, but and he's listening to his headphones, and he's ignoring her, and he's trying to listen, and she's trying to talk to him. It just seems so believable. And then the scene where he is chasing the girl around in his hotel or his hotel or whatever his apartment building with the chainsaw, and he's
Stephanie.
just butt ass, yeah, yes, butt ass naked with those those tennis shoes on, and he just he drops the chainsaw, and he's just screaming down the. It's so brilliant, like it's just. Damn,
It is. Reese Witherspoon is Evelyn in that. And the
Evelyn.
reason why I remember that is because my daughter's name is Evelyn.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Jared
Good
Leto's in
name.
that movie. Totally forgot.
Yeah, I love
Um,
seeing him get killed because I can't stand that guy.
yeah. But
uh,
again, with this book, a lot of the dialogue in it, a lot of the dialogue in the book was kept the same like weight in the film.
mm,
I mean, there's a couple things that are differences. Like the book drew some of like the backlash with the movie. Um,
mm,
but it was well received by the critics and the audience and whatever. Obviously, because that movie was phenomenal. And again,
mm,
you couldn't have picked a better person to play him. Um,
seriously, I
but
agree.
Bethany in the book, he meets her for lunch, and then they have like their really good conversation opposed to their normal ones because they're always arguing.
Right.
Then she goes with him back to his place. See, the way he kills her in the book and the way he kills her in the movie are different. So
Hmm.
he kills her with mace and stabs her like repeatedly. Then he bites her fucking fingers off in the book.
What?
Yes.
Holy
Um
shit!
then he
Damn.
had then he like laughs uncontrollably. Like you see the movie and then you go back to the book and then you read the book, you could just hear him laughing
Oh,
in the when you're
yes,
reading it. It's hysterical.
that's
But in the
brilliant though.
movie, yeah. But in the movie, it's the same reunion and whatnot, with the lunch and everything. But he kills her with a plastic bag, so he suffocates her with the bag,
Right.
and then he re and then and then he shoots her with the nail gun
Mm.
repeatedly. Do you
See,
remember that
that's
scene?
just yes, I do. Wow, that's painful. That's so painful to think
Yeah,
about.
dude, biting her
God,
fingers off. I mean,
he's
that
dead. That guy's brutal.
they should have did that in the movie.
But I get you. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But like, how are they going to show that though? Like, and not be because practical effects are hard to pull off with stuff like that. So it's like, I know you really got to be on point because that movie was so good. The gore was so good because it really didn't show a lot like right up close. A lot of it was implied, but it was so well implied you almost forget you didn't see it. So like
Yeah,
you would have to do that in a I don't know. I agree with you. Don't get me wrong, but same point, you got to be very careful because it's like you don't want to ruin that aesthetic, what they have going with what they have already. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's such a.
true.
I do want to see that though. I'm with you. So good call.
Yeah. I mean, they could have. I mean, yeah, the stabbing thing, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. But the
but the
finger
nail
biting that would have been
gun,
difficult. Ooh, God.
the nail gun, like if he would have just shot her with the nail gun or bit her fingers off first and then shot her with the nail gun, that would have been a good scene too.
I agree. I fully agree.
Because there was ways to like show him biting her fingers, but not like show him biting her fingers off.
Right. Like yeah, ooh,
And
like
then
showing like his nose up and like seeing the blood squirt on him or something like that. It'd be kind of cool.
yeah, or like her fingers
Yeah.
like laying there, and then they go back to him, and he's got blood on his mouth, and you see him with her hand, stuff like that. So you know what's going on.
Good point.
Um,
Good point.
but he did have a mental illness, clearly,
Oh, he was. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's
glamorously.
well. At first, you kind of don't think so. You go, well, this guy's just really focused on being the best and always being on top of things, and then like you see this slow decline of his mental health throughout the entire film until the
Yeah,
end, where you go, going, this guy he's off the deep end. Like he needs help. Like seriously, he needs help. And it's a brilliant look into mental health. And of course, back when it came out, it was still a very taboo thing to talk about. So this movie was so powerful in the fact that I think it showed a lot of people, that people that are striving to be better also have this big weight on their shoulders that they can't just shrug off. they have to focus on it and they have to figure it out, but sometimes you can't do it
Hmm.
on your own. So it was a very good commentary on the times, on mental health, on the slasher genre in the movies itself. So it
Yep.
was it was a good it was a good build. I would love to read this book though,
Psychological
because
thrillers.
yeah, I want to read the book because it does sound very interesting just to hear that difference. So I'm gonna have to put that on my list of books to read when I'm just about dead. But
So what he was like an antisocial personality, So I mean, they have a
mhm,
disorder for that, which in the movie you pick up on like the his sexual integrity in there,
yes,
you know,
definitely.
and
Mhm,
his shallowness and his obsession with like the material stuff. So I mean,
yep,
it all comes together, you know.
it does
Um
very well.
yeah, but and then people are like, is he a psychopath or is he a sociopath?
The debate rages on, because honestly,
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit of both, but at the same point, it's people want to choose one or the other, which I understand that. I understand that struggle because you want to put him into everyone wants to put him into a box, but at the
right.
same time, that movie lets it flow. The book, I'm sure the book lets it flow as well. So it's kind of like, okay, what do you think is going on with him, really? So
Sociopath for sure.
yeah, oh
Because
yeah, I agree.
psychopaths are are psychopaths, they tend to be more erratic, more rage, unable to like just be normal. And then
True.
sociopaths lead a normal life, He had a job, he had a house, he had a girlfriend. Like,
Yeah, but like, yeah,
they're more
but yeah,
manipulative and
Yeah,
charming,
but I hear you. But at the same point, like you see how he goes off the deep end, especially when he's invites those hookers over, and he's or the one hooker over, and I guess they're going through that threesome, whatever, and then he just loses his mind. Like he
Right.
loses all touch with the reality. So it's like he's a sociopath with touches of the psychopath,
Yeah.
mental disorder in him that comes out when certain triggers are presented. It's like, oh God, I can't even. Whew, that movie just makes me think like crazy. So, mm,
Yeah. So,
yeah, but that's a good one though. That is definitely a really good. I just that knowing the subtle differences with that, it's definitely interesting to hear that. So, very
yeah.
cool.
I mean, he was phenomenal in that.
Oh
I
yeah,
love,
Bale is
yeah.
just he's and I haven't have you had to watch The Machinist? Have you seen The Machinist with
No.
Bale? I've heard that
No.
it's phenomenal. Of course, he lost like a ton of weight. Like he looks like a skeleton pretty much. But I've just heard so many good things about that film. I got to watch it because people say it's great. It's a little slow, they said, but it's just a brilliant look at how an actor really dives into a role and takes it seriously and just nails it to the fucking wall. So I need to watch it and see because I love Christian Bale. So um, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So do you have another one for us?
I don't.
Okay, that's
So,
okay.
yeah. So I couldn't come up with, I mean, I have other ones that I could think of, but not nothing that would top those three.
Right, I
Like I
got you. I
said,
totally got you.
Jaws was a good one. I was gonna put
Mhm.
Jaws on there
Yes, Jaws. I
because,
mean,
I mean,
everyone will agree with that.
yeah,
Definitely.
it is, and the I didn't read Jaws completely.
Mm.
So that's why I kind of didn't want to. I kind of like half-ass read it and I didn't finish it. Um, uh, but I heard from a couple of my friends too when we talk about it or whatever. There are similarities between those two with the book and the movie.
Mm.
But then there's people that say they're quite different. So,
Hmm.
uh,
Is there a reason why you didn't finish it?
no, I don't know why I didn't. Like I bought the book like 2 years ago.
Mm.
I want to say like 2 years ago because it was like pre-COVID before I bought it. So that would make us at about 2 years.
Right.
And I started it and then I don't know what happened. I think things just got a little wild with my book club and I just started, doing that and kind of forgot about it. Um,
Right.
yeah, but I'm gonna finish it. Yeah, and then the book came before the movie, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's usually the
yeah,
way it goes. I mean, there are a few movies that come before books, but it's very rare. That's such a rarity. So
yeah, yeah. I'm definitely gonna go back and watch or read that because that movie
good.
was awesome too.
Yeah. Oh
And
God.
I can say that I have never I'm like it takes a lot when I watch a horror movie for me to cringe or jump or something, or, not look at the screen,
Hmm.
um, because not much bothers me unless it's, like, extremely gory or, really nasty,
Right.
um, but Jaws, ugh, I couldn't even tell you how many times I jumped, and,
Seriously.
like, I had so many reactions to that movie. The oh my god, like that and the jumping. I'm like, okay, okay. Like I've watched way worse movies than this and no reaction. Um, but I feel like too with horror movies, you're kind of expecting what's gonna happen next.
True.
Um, but Jaws, no. I feel like older horror movies are way better than the remakes now, or even
True.
movies now.
I agree with you. I fully agree with you on that. So
Even though, they're not with CGI and all that stuff. They didn't have any of that back then, but I feel like the older stuff is more you could tell it's fake, but they put so much effort into it back then than they do now. Now it's all like, "Oh, well, here's a book. Here you go. Learn how to do it over there." You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's all behind a screen now, a green screen. Then there was just so much effort into like doing everything then. They didn't have all the stuff they have now.
Practical effects. That's where it's at. And I will set, preach that till the day I die. I mean, CGI is good when it's used properly, but yeah, practical effects just make everything so much better. And I hate the fact they've gone so heavily into CGI. But and there's some books and movies that that are adapted, whatever. You have to use CGI. Like there's no way. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't do like Godzilla or King Kong without doing that and not doing it justice. Like you can go back to the original claymation stuff, but he wants we've seen that. We want to see what it
Right.
looks like in like living color. So it's like you're gonna have to give it its due, but at the same point, it's relying heavily on that just ruins it, honestly, for me. So, but
And CGI is always better with like superhero movies too.
yes, definitely,
Superhero
yeah,
movies, Godzilla and all that.
yep.
I did want to say something though. I lied about Jaws being my most cringeworthy movie.
Hmm.
The movie that we talked about and you had me watch with the little girl,
Mm-hmm.
that movie, I can't remember the name of it.
Uh,
It's the girl and then Becky.
trying to think. Uh,
Becky.
which one is it?
Becky, the movie Becky.
I've never seen that before. I don't even heard of that before.
You told me to watch it.
I did. Wow.
Yes. With the girl, and the guy's in prison and they get out and they come to the house looking for a key.
Wow.
I swear you told me to watch that movie.
I don't think that was me. I don't because that doesn't sound familiar at all. I don't think
Yeah, it's the
that was
girl. So
that was your other friend named Wes.
no, I swear it was you told me to watch it because um yeah, it's new and it's got
It is Ducky.
Becky.
Oh, Becky.
Yes, Kevin James, Lulu Wilson,
Okay, now I
Joe
know. I was like,
McHale.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, now I was thinking it was a totally different name, and I was like, what? Okay, now it's all
No,
coming back. See, I'm old, and yeah, it takes me a minute to kind of get things going in my brain again.
she's a
Yes,
spunky little bitch, man.
that the scene. If you haven't seen it before, turn it off or whatever, or fast forward because I'm about to spoil the best part of the film. When his eye falls out and he cuts it with those scissors, holy
Oh my
shit.
God.
That made me want to throw up, literally. I was like, "That's
Absolutely.
disgusting."
I felt
Mhm.
my stomach literally move up a little bit towards my throat.
Yeah,
I holy
good
shit.
stuff.
But
Good stuff.
the part that made me like, what was when she was rolling him over with the motherfucking mower.
Yes, God.
Oh,
Ah,
God.
phew.
I have, and to have a young girl be doing this stuff, now
That's
she's a sociopath
mhm.
slash
But
psychopath, and they need to come up with
yeah.
another path for her
Yeah, but
because
like but it
shit.
was like I have to though. Like she had to. It was either that or it was survival, man. It was all about
I mean,
survival,
yeah, and if I
you
watched somebody
know?
kill my dad, I probably would have gone full psycho mode too, like she did. you know. Um,
Mm.
but damn, I have not watched a movie in a while that made me like,
Mhm.
holy shit. And I
Yeah.
rewound a couple times, a couple things, and I paused a couple times too because I was like, all right, I need a break for like 3 minutes. um,
Yeah, you
if
told
I'm
me
gonna go.
you're like Wes. What the hell am I watching? I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, it was a bit
uh,
like,
that's
damn.
hilarious.
And for like about a week, I told anybody and everybody that would listen to me, go watch this movie. Go watch this movie.
Seriously.
Go watch it.
Yeah, if you haven't
Cause
watched it yet, if you're listening, what the fuck is wrong with you? Go watch Becky right now. Just after this is over, just turn it off. Go watch Becky because you'll really enjoy it. So
yeah, it
good
was.
stuff.
I mean, it got 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, and then 5.9 out of 10 for whatever. So it didn't get really good reviews, but
Nah, that doesn't matter.
and another thing too, Kevin James, the way he plays that dude, like
Brilliant.
I'm
And that,
so used to him being the goofy,
mhm,
dude and everything. Oh my
mhm.
God, he was amazing.
And
He
that beard,
scared me.
that beard was on fucking point. I mean,
Yeah,
wow, good
I
stuff.
wonder if it was his real beard.
Oh, I think yeah, he grew it out. He grew it out. That's
I
all Kevin.
forgot. Another spoiler. Sorry guys. The the fucking pencil in dude's neck.
Oh God, that hurts.
Was it a
I'm thinking
pencil?
about it.
Was it a pencil or
I
was
think it was
it?
I think it was a mechanical pencil, wasn't it?
I
I
don't
think.
know, but him choking to death on his blood, I was like, dude.
Yeah, they really knew how to make you feel what was going on with those people. Like they did a great job with that. So,
She was
yeah.
smart as hell though.
Oh,
I
dude,
mean,
I
you
completely,
think
completely.
you think about it, like, could you have come up with doing this stuff?
No,
If you were
fuck
in the
no.
middle of the woods?
I'd
No.
be looking for a
And like,
gun.
I'd be running. I
Yeah.
mean, you killed my dad, and okay, that's her stepmom and her stepbrother. I mean, not yet, but I would have been, not to be like
No.
selfish or but like, dude, I just wanted to kill my
Fuck
dad.
you,
I'm
bitch.
out. I am out. My
Wow.
mom's dead already.
Note to self: if we're ever in a predicament and something's going down, don't rely on Mandy to save my ass. I'm just gonna have to run myself.
If you're trapped, man, I'm out.
Yeah. Bye, Mandy. See ya. Good to know you.
Survival of the fittest, West.
That's right. Damn. Woo. All right. Well,
Uh,
on that note, I do want to give one book to movie adaptation that I fucking enjoy, and full disclosure, again, I have not read this book yet, but I seriously plan on doing this. Seriously. And I know it's going to be a fantastic read. So that's why I'm going to talk about this for a minute. And of course, if you know me at all, you know that the very first horror film I ever saw with my dad when I was 10 years old was Psycho.
mm,
And I love Psycho so much. Brilliant, just absolutely brilliant. It's black and white. And I know people have a lot, especially nowadays, have a problem watching black and white films. But seriously, this movie, the flow, it just flows so perfectly. Um, Anthony Perkins, oh my
yep,
God. Oh my God. The dude
yep.
just, every time, I can't stop watching him. He's so charismatic and he's so good at what he does. It just, if you haven't watched this film, what in the fuck is wrong with you? Please go watch this film. Um,
It's like in 1950 or 1960,
60, 60,
60s.
660, yeah. So 61, I think, is when it came out. Um, of course, it was based on the life of Ed Gein, which, if you know Ed Gein at all, I mean, knowing that that transition going from real life to book and then to film, Hitchcock did a
Yep.
great job of adapting that book. I mean, I got to read it because I got to figure out what I'm missing because people say there is stuff that's not in the movie that's in the book, so
He
I've
was
really got to figure that out. And
he was the Wisconsin killer, right? That whole thing that
yes,
was going on. Yeah, okay.
yep,
I always
yep.
mix him up with what's his name?
Gacy,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
always.
Even
Always
though they're
mix
very
them up.
different, yeah, it is very easy to get them mixed up. You're exactly
Yeah.
right. But yeah, I've got it, and as soon as I read the book, I'm actually going to post it, so you guys know I've actually read it, and then I'll actually maybe do like a little something to kind of give my thoughts on what I think about the book to movie adaptation exactly. But that I know it's going to be fantastic. So, but I just wanted to get that out there. And actually, I think I got the book I did. I got the book from a giveaway that I won. It was really cool because I got it. Like I got to read this, and of course that's set on my bookshelf for months. But I got to read it though. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
and of course and of course that and especially watching this In Search of Darkness documentary it was on. Um, like they talked about a bunch of Stephen King, book to movie adaptations, and that you have Christine and Carrie and
Mhm.
Pet
Mhm.
Cemetery, and there's just so many that they've done so brilliantly. Like all those movies are just fantastic, and of course everyone knows the books are even better. So if you do, I'm actually going to post this when I post this episode. I want you guys to go into the comments and tell me your favorite book to movie adaptation because I'm kind of curious to see what everyone else thinks, if they agree with us with what you've chosen, and of course the choice of mine. But I want to hear everybody's feedback and what they
Mm.
think. And um, but yeah, I just thought this would be a cool topic to discuss with you, and you did a great job. I mean, it's like you've done this forever. So seriously,
Awesome. Now all
it's
they need to do is just make books from the Scream movies. Then they'd just be a little backwards with them now.
I wonder if I'll ever do that honestly, because that would be a really cool thing to do. Honestly,
Yeah. And then
I would
I
love.
see what you posted about the new movie that it is not a it's a what? Why am I
It's
blanking
like
on getting this right?
it's like well,
It's
it's
in
saying a new franchise kind of thing,
yes,
which
franchise. I couldn't think of the
which
word.
I'm really hoping that's true because people are saying, "Oh, it's not true at all," but I'm just holding on hope that's true because holy shit, that would be amazing if they just started over again, kind of, and then did a whole new story. I would love that.
And Sydney
So
needs to fucking die because I'm
I fucking agree. That's
I
why you
am
and I get
so
along.
sick of her.
Seriously, I love. Don't get me wrong. I love Sydney to death. I love Sydney
Yes.
Prescott. I have her on. I've had her tattooed on me. I've met Nev Campbell in person. I've told her I was like, "You're my favorite person ever." But like the whole story of Sydney needs to die out. They need to.
Yes.
Honestly, I think they need to kill off uh,
The
Sydney,
original cast.
Dewey, and Gail in the first like
Mhm.
10 minutes, and but make it very spectacular. Make it badass as hell. But like they need to go honestly
I don't know
because
how they would
anyway,
do it. I
I
don't know
don't
how they would
either.
do it.
I don't either, but it's if they do it, they got to make it spectacular. 'Cause if not, I will hunt down Kevin Williamson and I will delve into his face, motherfucker. You fucked this up. But
Sydney
but
needs
yeah,
to die a excruciating, memorable
yes,
death.
I
Like
fucking agree.
it has to be the best death out of the Scream
Ever,
franchise
well,
ever.
ever. Like yeah, not even just scream. I'm talking about like the best death ever. Like you're going, it happens and you're so shocked you start to cry. Like
Yep.
there's no like I want that. I want to cry when she dies and be
Like
emotional about it. So
every
yeah.
way you could die, stick it into like one, have her drowning, then choke her, then hang her, then cut her. I mean, do everything you could
Good lord.
and
Mutilate her.
torture her.
Just mutilate the fuck out of her.
And then bury her
Uh,
alive, when she's taking her
shit.
last breath.
That would
Just
be, see now see the buried alive thing would be perfect actually. Like because like the first like last thing you see would be Ghostface and he either reveals himself to her or he just says goodbye, Sydney, and just closes that casket lid or whatever
yep,
it is. Oh, I've been getting
that'd
emotional
be
thinking about
good.
it. Shit. Fuck. Okay.
That would be good.
If anyone's can rewrite the movie real fast, put that in there.
I
um,
do wanna say one thing about all the Scream movies, and
okay.
you know what it is and what it irritates the living shit out of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
the first one with the garage.
I know, I know, I know. It's but see things like that in movies, you have to give it to them, but because otherwise it wouldn't work, you know. So you kind of have to go. All right, we
Okay,
know.
I get 80s garages were strong as hell, okay, fine, but 90s, whatever. But on what planet can a garage lift a grown ass woman? None. Every time
None.
I watch that movie, I'm like, "I can't even watch this. I have to look away."
Yeah, it wouldn't exist. But it makes for a very interesting
No.
death. So,
It
and
does.
the deaths in Scream are definitely memorable because I can remember every single one of them in every single film almost. So,
Mhm.
it's like that they've made a point to either go above and beyond or make it so realistic that it's just fucks with your head. So,
Yeah,
um,
and that fucked with my
yeah.
head because I
Oh,
literally
definitely.
thought about it probably, like, 30 minutes after the fact, and I'm like, still, like, how
How the
how did
fuck?
that happen? And I'm still watching the movie, That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen.
Oh my god, Manny, let it go. Just breathe in and let it out. Just let it go.
Those are my
Um,
all-time favorite movies.
Me
I can
too.
watch them repeated. I can watch them daily,
Yep.
literally daily,
Yeah.
and wouldn't even bother me.
Seriously, I probably watch that series, that franchise, at least 3 times a year, at least, like
Oh
fully
my god.
from 1 to 4. Always pop in one just to have it on in the background and just watch it whenever I want. So, and then 2 and 3 kind of sneak in there every so often. But 4 is getting better to me. I love
Yeah.
all of them, but 4 is getting better to me. It was a little hard to kind of go for such a huge jump, So it was definitely
hmm
hard, but it's definitely getting better. But yeah, that
I
franchise
mean,
is just
let's be honest. Since we've become friends, how many times have I been watching the movie when we talk?
every time I'm like, "What are you doing?" "Hey man, what are you doing?" "I'm watching Scream." "Yeah, figures." "Yeah, all right, cool." Just making sure. Next time I go, "Hey, you watching Scream?" Like, "No, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why is Scream on in the background?"
I'm on Scream too. Okay.
Yeah.
If I can't fall asleep, I pop that on. It's
Seriously,
yeah. I mean,
it's
the
soothing.
cast, the cast is amazing. Everything they did about that franchise, from the cast to the storyline to everything, I love it. I love it,
Yep,
and it's
yep.
not boring.
Nope,
And
not at all. There's not one part of the movie that's boring ever. It's always good.
it's lovely. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Well, I think it's about time to start wrapping this up. I've had a great time talking to you though about this. So this first episode's gone way better than I thought it would, honestly. So I'm very happy that this is the first step in a new direction for a few things. Um, and I forgot to do something in the first of this episode, and I just got really into what I was saying, and I forgot. But um, if you want to tell us a little about yourself or a little about your Instagram or just something like that, if you want to get into, if not, that's okay too. But I just want to give you the opportunity to tell you the people listening about you, or so
Um, I am on Instagram. I'm XOO_Mandy. Um, so I have like a blogger, bookishy things. I'm trying to incorporate like life blog into my stuff, make it a little bit more inviting. But it's mostly horror books, everything I've read, and of course I review everything and try to make, my page look cute. I'm working my way up there with meeting new people and followers and all that. Definitely need to post a little bit more. But if you like horror and fun things and good conversation, follow me.
there you go. I mean, that's again, I noticed she was a big Scream fan, that she liked books, and she was really into horror. I was like, that's really cool. So, and we just started talking, and here we are. So, Um, but yeah, Amanda's a great person, and I'm so lucky to have you in my life, and just one of my best friends. And you've helped me through so much. And I really do appreciate you so much. So
Of course. That's why I'm
yeah,
here.
that's right. That's right.
Yep.
Um, so you can find me on Instagram. My personal page. I guess my first page is Old Man Ghostface. It's a Horror Podcast is my first podcast that I do, that I share with my buddy Kevin. He is slashing captain. Um, I also sell VHS stack shirts. So if you're interested in that, hit me up on Old Ghosty Stack Shirts on Instagram as well. Just the very first post has all the details about it. So read that if you're interested. Hit me up in my DMs, and we'll get that going. Um, People seem to like them a lot, and I'm really excited that people are liking them. And it's a cool creative outlet for me to kind of be creative with stuff like that. And because some of the spines just don't exist, or they're hard to find, so I have to create my own. So it's kind of cool to kind of get a creative liberty to create those on my own. So it's kind of neat to do that. So hit me up on that. And then, of course, for this podcast, Don't Tell Me Mr. Ghostface is my podcast. It is presented by It's Horror Podcast, so we're still connected in that way. So this will go on the feed for my other podcast to kind of fill those gaps in until we start up again. So after that, I may continue and just branch off in my own thing. But for the moment, you'll be able to find this podcast on that feed. So I'll definitely post that. It'll be on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all the major platforms. So you'll be able to find it there. So. Um, and again, if you're interested in being on the show, just hit me up and let me know, and we'll work it out at a time and what we want to talk about and everything like that. I just want to get the most people out there and let everyone know, who I talk to, who my friends are, and just people that are kind of getting started up. I want people to get out there and get noticed. So It's important to me to kind of get people to a higher platform where they want to go to. So, um, but yeah, so this is a new venture, and I'm really excited about getting this going finally. So, I hope you enjoyed the first show. Give me feedback. I want feedback. Just tell me things you like, things you don't like. You know, other segments you want me to put on here, whatever. If you want to shut the fuck up, whatever, just just tell me. But I'm really really excited to get this thing going. So, Mandy, thank you so much again for joining me. I really do appreciate it. You have been a phenomenal first guest. So thank you, thank you,
Of
thank you.
course. I
Cool.
plan on returning once you
Yes.
get like, more going here.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, return guests, definitely. That's yeah. I mean, I want to get as many people on as possible, but I also want to get my favorites back on. So you'll definitely be able, and we may have
Hmm.
to actually discuss the entire Scream franchise. We may actually go through each
Yes,
film, and yes, we should do
I
that.
was just gonna
Definitely.
say that
Yes.
because
Perfect.
if
Look at that.
anybody knows it better than any me or you, it's me and you.
There you go. Perfect. I'm excited. Perfect. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. You know, and I hope this may turn into a video podcast eventually. So, like I said, this is such a groundbreaking episode for me that I just want to start and get it going, and then just grow from here. So, um, but thank you so much for joining us today, Mandy. Again, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Of course, bye.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie? You have to have a favorite.
Listen, asshole!
No, you listen, you little bitch. You hang up on me again, I'll cut you like a fish, understand?
Cut, Casper. That's a wrap.